The man had just been fired from the factory. The very next moment, a business partner arrived to negotiate a deal. The unskilled apprentice picked up the parts the man had left behind for testing. When the data came back perfectly accurate, the partner signed the order on the spot, even added 5,000 more units. But the apprentice didn't look the least bit happy. The factory director, on the other hand, praised him as a hero. The apprentice began to worry. If he couldn't deliver in a month, he'd not only lose his job, the whole factory might go under. Left with no choice, he went to find the man, but instead of telling the truth, he blamed the man for faulty parts, demanding he come back to fix his mistakes. But the experienced man saw right through him. He remembered clearly how the apprentice had kicked him out, so he ignored the threats and walked away. Unexpectedly, to force him back, the apprentice used his father's connections and blacklisted the man from the entire industry. As a result, every interview he went to ended in rejection. A wealthy woman asked about the results. The man could only smile bitterly and say he'd failed them all. She quickly realized what was going on, and the apprentice called at that very moment, ordering the man to return, or be left sweeping streets to survive. But the man calmly retorted, accusing the apprentice of destroying his own father's future. Furious, the apprentice vowed the man would come crawling back, but the man just chuckled, saying the apprentice had sealed his father's fate. The wealthy woman looked confused, so the man explained, right now every major corporation is scrambling for dominance in the new energy sector, but the apprentice's father had forced them all to blacklist a top-tier talent. That meant making enemies of the entire industry. Once the man unveiled his new high-performance part, all the companies would turn on the apprentice's father and blame him for their setback. The woman was shocked, while others feared getting laid off. This man pitted them instead. Confidently, he declared that the industry lacked someone of his caliber. The woman urged him to work for another group, but the man refused, saying all the companies were in disarray. He had no intention of joining them. She then made him a personal offer. Even if her company wasn't hiring, she'd make space for him, because she didn't want a future enemy. The man agreed. Meanwhile, a rival company's assistant reported that the competitor had placed the man in a key role, but the CEO was calm, claiming they still had his apprentice. Unbeknownst to them, the apprentice was panicking, unable to produce qualified parts. His subordinates reported repeated failures. They told him he needed to work on it himself, but he only lashed out in frustration. The factory director came over, demanded to know when they'd surpassed the man's standards. The apprentice fumed, calling the man heartless. The director coldly replied he didn't come to hear nonsense. He wanted answers. The apprentice promised he'd deliver. He began non-stop testing, working until he collapsed at his desk. After waking, he rushed to have the new part tested, but it still didn't pass. Even so, he lied to his team, claiming it was top quality, and ordered mass production. Meanwhile, the man had just finished developing a new part. He immediately had it tested. The results stunned the technicians. Not only was it flawless, it outperformed rival products by double. The team was blown away. They praised the man's brilliance. He immediately gave the order. Input the specs into the machines. Begin mass production at once. Everyone sprang into action. Then the man turned to the wealthy woman, explaining the part he'd left in her company before was just casually made. This new one was his true masterpiece. The woman